The last train at midnight ****. If you're listening tonight, lock your door. Turn off the lights. And if you hear a train whistle after midnight, don't follow it. Because some trains were never built for the living. October 14th. 11:58 p.m. Rain covered the empty streets of Blackridge. Daniel Brooks hurried toward the abandoned station. He was an investigative journalist. His job was exposing fake ghost stories and urban legends. 3 weeks earlier, someone had left an old train ticket on his office desk. Across the top were faded words. Midnight Express, ****. On the back, one sentence was written in black ink. Board the train on October 14th, if you want the truth. ***. Daniel searched every railway record. Nothing. No company. No schedule. No photographs. Only old newspaper reports. Every report described people disappearing from Blackridge Station. Always on October 14th. Always after midnight. Always after hearing a train whistle. One retired station worker had given Daniel a strange warning. If it arrives. The old man looked terrified. Don't look through the windows. Before Daniel could ask why, the man walked away. Now Daniel stood alone on platform 3. The station clock ticked. 11:59. The rain suddenly stopped. Complete silence filled the air. No wind. No birds. No distant cars. Then, a whistle echoed across the valley. Long. Slow. Ancient. The tracks trembled. A white light appeared inside the fog. An old silver train rolled toward the platform. No engine noise. No sparks. No screeching brakes. Only silence. The train stopped in front of Daniel. Its paint was faded. Its windows reflected nothing. No destination sign. No company logo. Only worn letters above the cab. M.E.X. ****. For several seconds. Nothing happened. Then a single door slowly opened. Warm air drifted outside. It smelled of old leather, dust, and machine oil. Daniel stared into the empty doorway. Every instinct told him to leave. But curiosity won. He stepped inside. The doors slammed shut. The lights flickered once. The train began moving. Daniel looked through the window. Blackridge Station was already gone. Only darkness surrounded the train. He reached for his phone. No signal. The clock on the screen read exactly 12 a.m. It never changed. A quiet voice suddenly echoed behind him. You weren't supposed to survive the first stop. Daniel slowly turned around. At the far end of the carriage, an elderly woman dressed in black was smiling. She was the only passenger. Or so he thought. Daniel couldn't move. The elderly woman smiled as if she had been expecting him. Her gray hair rested neatly beneath a small black hat. Her clothes looked decades out of date. You came, she said softly. Daniel forced a smile. Who are you? Instead of answering, she pointed toward the window. Daniel looked outside. There was no city. No trees. No mountains. Only endless blackness rushing past the train. It felt as if the tracks floated through empty space. This isn't possible, Daniel whispered. The woman nodded. Nothing on this train is. Daniel hurried to the next carriage. It was completely empty. Rows of old leather seats stretched into the distance. A suitcase rested beside one seat. It looked new. A small luggage tag hung from the handle. Daniel picked it up. His hands froze. The tag carried his own name. Daniel Brooks, ***. His stomach tightened. He had never brought a suitcase. Slowly, he opened it. Inside were neatly folded clothes. A toothbrush. A wallet. A notebook. Everything belonged to him. Even more disturbing. The notebook was filled with pages written in his handwriting. The final page contained only one sentence. "You should have left the station." ***. Daniel dropped the notebook. The lights flickered. When they came back, the suitcase had vanished. He looked around. Nothing. No suitcase. No notebook. No sound. Only the steady rhythm of the train. Then, a child's laughter echoed from the next carriage. Daniel slowly followed it. A little girl sat beside the window holding a worn teddy bear. She couldn't have been older than 8. She looked up and smiled. "You're late." Daniel swallowed hard. Late for what? The last stop. Before he could ask another question, she pointed outside. Far ahead, a lonely station appeared through the darkness. Its platform was lit by dozens of old lanterns. A rusted sign stood beside the tracks. Only one word could still be read. Return ****. The train began slowing down. The little girl hugged her teddy bear. Without looking at Daniel, she whispered, "Whatever happens, don't get off." The brakes hissed softly. The doors unlocked. Someone was waiting on the platform. The train stopped without a sound. The doors slid open. Cold air filled the carriage. Daniel looked toward the platform. A tall man stood beneath a flickering lantern. Long black coat. Wide-brimmed hat. His face remained hidden in the shadows. He didn't move. He simply waited. Daniel remembered the little girl's warning. "Don't get off." ***. Then the stranger slowly raised one hand. He pointed directly at Daniel. "Come home." The voice echoed through the station. It sounded familiar. Too familiar. Daniel stepped closer to the doorway. The platform looked abandoned. Broken benches. Cracked concrete. A rusted clock frozen at 12:00. The stranger spoke again. "You've been here before." Daniel shook his head. "No. I've never seen this place." The man laughed quietly. "You just don't remember." Suddenly, the train lights went dark. For 2 long seconds, everything disappeared. When the lights returned, the platform was empty. The stranger had vanished. The doors slammed shut. The train lurched forward. Daniel rushed to the window. The station quickly disappeared into the darkness. His reflection stared back at him. But something was wrong. His reflection wasn't copying him. It smiled. Daniel didn't. His reflection slowly lifted one hand. It tapped the glass. Once. Twice. 3 times. Daniel stumbled backward. The reflection remained smiling. Then, it whispered, "You should have stayed." The glass cracked. A thin line spread across the window. Then another. And another. Tiny cracks covered the entire pane. Without warning, every light inside the carriage went out. Heavy footsteps echoed from the next coach. Slow. Steady. Coming closer. Daniel held his breath. One step. Another. Closer. Closer. Then. Silence. The lights returned. The carriage was empty. Except The elderly woman was standing beside his seat. She was no longer smiling. "They've seen you now," she whispered. Daniel stared at her. "Who?" Before she could answer, a loud whistle shook the entire train. Far ahead, another station appeared. Unlike the last one, every light was on. Hundreds of silent people stood waiting on the platform. None of them moved. None of them blinked. Every single one was looking directly at the train. Daniel's pulse raced. Hundreds of people stood silently on the platform. Men, women, children. None of them blinked. None of them spoke. As the train slowed, every head turned toward him. At the exact same moment, the elderly woman grabbed Daniel's wrist. "Don't make eye contact." He looked down immediately. The brakes sighed. The doors opened. Silence. Then, one pair of footsteps. Someone stepped onto the train. Daniel heard the slow tap. 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 Of polished shoes crossing the floor. The footsteps stopped behind him. A calm voice whispered, "I've been waiting for you." Daniel turned. The man in the black coat stood only a few feet away. His face was pale. His eyes were completely black. No whites. No pupils. Only darkness. He smiled. "You received my ticket." Daniel stepped backward. "What do you want?" The man reached into his pocket and removed a faded passenger list. He unfolded it carefully. Every name had a red line through it. Except one. Daniel Brooks, ***. You are the final passenger. The train suddenly shook. The lights flashed red. A loud announcement echoed through every carriage. Final destination approaching. Outside the windows, the dark sky slowly changed. An enormous station appeared ahead. It stretched farther than Daniel could see. Thousands of silent passengers stood beneath glowing lamps. Every one of them faced the arriving train. The black-coated man held out his hand. "Come with us. You'll never fear death again." Daniel looked at the old woman. She quietly slipped something into his hand. The old train ticket. On the back, new words had appeared. "Only the living can choose." Without thinking, Daniel tore the ticket into two pieces. The train screamed. The lights exploded. A powerful blast of white light filled every carriage. Daniel closed his eyes. Everything became silent. Warm sunlight touched his face. He opened his eyes slowly. He was lying alone on platform 3. Morning had arrived. The abandoned station looked exactly as it had before. No train. No passengers. No old woman. Only birds singing in the distance. A police officer rushed toward him. "Sir, are you all right?" Daniel nodded. As he stood, something slipped from his pocket. Half of the torn ticket. Across it, one word remained. "Return, ****. That night, at exactly 12:00 a.m., a distant train whistle echoed across Blackridge once again. Someone else had just boarded.